Are you ready for race day 2 in Spielberg at the Red Bull Ring in Austria? Well, we certainly are ready because it is getting hot in the season. Only 3 more races to go in the season 2023. Today here in Spielberg, it's cloudy, but it's supposed to be dry. So hopefully it's not going to be a huge gamble like yesterday in regards to the tires. But anyway, let's get qualifying. And fact is that Mirko Bortolotti is leading the championship, but it is super tight because it's only 6 points between him and Thomas Preining. And one thing is for sure, it's going to be super tight in the qualifying once again. And everybody's going to be pushing really hard, but especially these guys when it's all in regards to the championship, because we only have 3 more races to go. So let's get qualifying. Here are your commentators.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Red Bull Ring. 20 minutes of qualifying coming up in just a few minutes' time. And as Verena said, it is tight. Just 6 points at the top of the championship table. There are 84 points still available in the championship, including the points for the qualifying sessions. 3 points for pole, 2 points for second, and a point for third in qualifying. And they really do add up. Mirko Bortolotti has scored 12 points just from qualifying this year. That's more than the equivalent of a 5th place finish, and 11 points scored for Thomas Preining. And of course, it's all about grid position. You've got then 84 points still available in the championship. At the moment, Lucas Auer, and he's in 8th place in the championship, and René Rast, who is 7th in the championship, are both 84 points adrift. So they could be dropping out of the championship mathematically here after this one, unless either of them gets pole position. But both of them need to score absolute maximum points in every session, every race, and hope that Mirko Bortolotti doesn't score any points for the rest of the season. So it looks slim. It looks very much as though we'll be down to 5 mathematical contenders at the end of this qualifying session. Sheldon van der Linde, 4th in the championship. Last year's champion is 64 points adrift. He has got to catch up. He's got to close the gap to 56 points or fewer on Mirko Bortolotti to have any chance going into Hockenheim of still being in the championship fight. So yesterday, a thrilling race, rain affected both in terms of the qualifying session and in terms of the race itself. It was, for my money, the best race of the season so far. Loads of action, a really mixed up looking grid. We had 12 of the top 16 on the grid yesterday that hadn't won a race so far in the 2023 season. And we got a 11th different winner of the year with Kelvin van der Linde, and a brilliant drive through from 26th on the grid to finish 3rd from Ricardo Feller to very much project himself straight into that championship fight. He looked like he was going to fade away a little bit yesterday after qualifying, but he actually closed the gap to the top of the table because he finished 3rd. Thomas Preining finished in 6th place, and Mirko Bortolotti, the championship leader, finished in 9th position. So the gap from 1st to 3rd is down to 22 championship points. Different day today, though, not least because of the weather. So the Audis and Abt have been saying all along our cars struggle in the dry around here. And on Friday, and I know it's only free practice, and I know they're using older tyres, and I know it's not everybody going flat out, but on Friday in practice, the best Audi in free practice 2 was Ricardo Feller, 20th quickest. So 21st was the best Audi in free practice 1, and that was Matteo Drudi. So the Audis really struggled in the dry conditions, and there's no reason to think that that's suddenly miraculously going to change. It was to a point the weather that helped them out yesterday, and they did a brilliant job, but they might well struggle today. For what it's worth, low 1:28 28s were the best times in practice. We should be going quicker than that in qualifying trim, but low 1:28 28, so 1:28.3 for Josefa Vega, who was quickest in free practice 1 in the dry session on Friday morning. And Sheldon van der Linde in the BMW was quickest in the afternoon with a 1:28.4. BMW strong here, as we've mentioned a couple of times already this weekend. It's a high-altitude circuit, this, so the air is thin, so the normally aspirated engines on the Audis, the Lamborghinis, the Porsches, and the Mercedes struggle to breathe, whereas the turbo-powered cars are happy. There's somebody who's pretty happy at high altitude, Marcel Hirscher, who's been a guest at DTM before. He's going to be doing some hot laps today, the ski legend, so he's just arrived. And here in the Styrian Mountains, we have this wonderful backdrop. It's a cooler day than yesterday, just under 12 degrees the air temperature. But it's just about perfect, really, for the engines to breathe and for the tyres as well. It's a very smooth surface here at the Red Bull Ring, so we're told that it could take up to 3 build-up laps before the drivers will go for a hot lap, but they might get possibly 3 quick laps out of a run on the slick Pirelli tyres. So the cars then head out onto the track. Once again, we are here in the commentary box overlooking the start-finish line here at this wonderful 4.3 kilometre long circuit, the Red Bull Ring. Here we're, as I say, in the Styrian Mountains, close to the village of Spielberg, and the nearest big city is Vienna, which is a good 200 kilometres away, so we're right in the middle of the countryside. It's a wonderful backdrop, a great race circuit, and we're very happy to be here for the penultimate weekend of DTM 2023. So welcome along, everybody, to qualifying. My name's Chris Hartley. Alongside me in the commentary box, it's a very good morning to Brian Oliver.
Good morning, Chris. Wow, what a day yesterday. If we can get a race that's half as good as yesterday, we're going to be happy. It was edge-of-the-seat stuff the whole way. Of course, the weather played a big part in that, as you've already mentioned. I think it's going to stay dry today, but the track should be the quickest we've seen it since we turned up here on Thursday. There's more rubber that's been laid down. We think it's going to stay dry, and it hasn't been raining. I don't think it has rained overnight. I'm not going to say that I was up all night looking out the window, but I'm not aware of any rain overnight. So we should be seeing some pretty quick times in this qualifying session. And I think this could be the opportunity for the BMWs to shine.
Yeah, watch out for René Rast as well, because we had an extra day's testing on Thursday, and he was quickest on Thursday in the low 128s as well. He's looking for a record-breaking 26th pole position in the DTM. Just as the cars get up to speed, to bring you up to date on the Teams Championship after yesterday, Manthey EMA, by my maths, have moved into the championship lead in the team standings by a single point on 256 points, ahead of Abt Sportsline, who moved into second on 255. And SSR Performance only scored 7 points with just the one car yesterday in the points, Mirko Bortolotti. They slipped from first to third on 252 points, so they dropped behind Manthey and Abt Sportsline. So 4 points between the top 3 in the team standings. And in terms of the Brands Championship, the manufacturers standings, Porsche are leading on 355 points. They're 35 clear of Lamborghini on 320, and Mercedes are third on 316 points, with the top 2 cars in each team, the top 2 cars in each brand scoring points, contributing points. That's points for the races only.
You have to stay out. We do 4 laps in total, 2 flying laps.
So Lauren Heinrich, who got his first pole position in the DTM, his first season of DTM racing, the 2022 Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland champion, led the first half of the race yesterday as well, but Kelvin van der Linde had a mega stint, a mega in-lap, a mega out-lap, and also a good pit stop from Abt Sportsline to nip past him and into the lead of the race. So second place yesterday in the race, but a pole position for Lauren Heinrich. And from the team radio there, Brian, it sounds like they're going to have 2 build-up laps and then go for 2 flying laps. So some teams were saying it might be 3 build-up laps, but certainly the Porsches feel they can get the tyres up to temperature in just 2. The Mercedes might struggle a bit more, though. They take a little bit longer to get the tyres up to heat.
Yes, with the weather not threatening us as much as it did yesterday, it opens up the opportunities in this session. So maybe some of the teams waiting till later on in the 20-minute session before they really put their hammer down. Normally we see Riccardo Feller running the gauntlet and coming out in about the last 5 minutes. He's out at the moment within the first 4 minutes, so clearly he's working hard to get the heat into the tyres. Also René Rast, but as we've already said, it's going to take 2 or 3 laps to get the heat into the tyres. We've heard Lauren Heinrich's radio, but different strategies at different times. In theory, the track should be at its quickest when the clock strikes 0 at the end of this qualifying session, so we'd expect it to be its busiest then. But yeah, lots of different strategies playing out. Quite a few cars out on the track still at the moment.
We very much enjoyed that late race battle between René Rast and Riccardo Feller yesterday. Teammates at Abt Sportsline last year, after all these years with Audi, of course moving across to BMW this year, René Rast. And it was a fearsome battle. Both drivers were sort of on it, complaining about the other one on the radio. There was a little bit of contact. That's a wild ride for Thierry Vermeulen as he goes over the sausage curbs there. Great slow-mo. And Thierry, very unlucky yesterday, coming together with the Grasser Racing Team Lamborghini of Clement Schmidt, and that put him into the gravel trap, out of the race and into retirement off the back of 6 consecutive top 10 finishes.
Yeah, so that's going to hurt a bit going over the curbs like that as well, isn't it? He got a bit airborne, but certainly Thierry Vermeulen, who has found some real pace, of course, the turbocharged Ferraris, also enjoying the conditions of high altitude. He and Jack Aitken have been looking quick all weekend. Of course, Jack Aitken yesterday and the Emil Frey Racing team rolled the dice with tyres, started on the slick tyres when most were on the wets. Proved to be the wrong decision, but he who dares wins.
Well, the two qualifying sessions in 2022, we had a Ferrari on pole one day, Nick Cassidy, and Mauro Engel in a Mercedes the next. 2 years ago in 2021, Ferrari was on pole again. Liam Lawson and Marco Wittmann in the BMW was on pole position. In terms of the podiums, the last 2 years, we've had 3 wins for Ferraris, 2 for Liam Lawson in 2021, a win for Nick Cassidy in 2022. Thomas Preining was a winner last year at this circuit in a Porsche. But René Rast in an Audi on the podium, 2nd place in race 1 in 2022, in tricky wet conditions though. But in terms of the dry, Audis have not been on the podium over the last 2 years here. It has been a combination of BMWs, Ferraris and Mercedes generally, but with that one exception of Thomas Preining getting the victory last year. So just another point that in the dry, the Audis might struggle. Right, Thierry Vermeulen on a decent lap. Ricardo Feller has put the absolute best middle sector in so far. A 1:28.9 is Ricardo's best time. We're expecting to get quicker than that, and it looks like Ricardo is about to. When he comes through the final sector. He got René Rast with the absolute best first sector, looking to improve in the BMW as well. Thierry Vermeulen about to get his fastest lap of the session, but in the background, Ricardo Feller is the one to watch. He goes way out wide coming out of the last turn. Vermeulen goes quickest for now, but surely Ricardo Feller is going to go back to the top of the times. Yes, he does, easily, by over half a second. A 1:28.317, so we're down, Brian, to the sorts of times we were seeing yesterday in free practice.
Yes, I think Ricardo Feller, he's got some real confidence in that car today, hasn't he? He's clearly on the crest of a wave after yesterday. René Rast, who stayed out, did a few laps, has now peeled off into the pits, a 1:29.020 for him. So he will probably come back in, wait for a while and be back out later in the session.
Yeah, René Rast started the lap well with an absolute best first sector, but then he was half a second down after the second sector and he bailed for the pits. So he only actually did one quick lap there, so I don't think he'll be in for long. He gets up on the jacks, he's right opposite the commentary box, and they're going to switch some tyres on. I've got new stickered tyres going on the left rear, I can see that much. Part of the car is obscured, but he's going to go back out for another run pretty quickly. Vermeulen, 1:28.855, Feller 1:28.9. He's had that lap taken away from him for track limits. Ricardo Feller, I suspect that was the last corner, wasn't it? Because he was way out wide. Yeah,
turn 9, the penultimate corner. We saw him going very wide there. Track limits, well, there's a subject that comes up pretty well every minute here when we're watching DTM at the Red Bull Ring. Keeping it within those bollards has been a challenge all weekend. You can see the 3 bollards there. They must stay to the inside of those. There's another 3 there on the exit at turn 10. If they survive by the end of today, it will be a very big surprise.
Well, Feller stayed out for another lap, went absolute best in the middle sector. He's having another go here to get back to the top of the times. 1:28.479. It's not as quick as the lap before, but I think this one will count. You go on board with Ricardo now. Great view, looking straight into the eyes. He shakes his head though and says, come on. And my best lap was the one that was taken away from me. I can go better than that, so I'll try and regroup, go back out for another run, I suspect. So it's a good lap, it's put him to the top of the times. Vermeulen is second with a 1:28.7, 3/10 down. René Rast has already gone back out. Expect him to get quicker. Here's Andrea Caldarelli, got into the points in his DTM debut yesterday in that magnificent gold-liveried Grasser Racing Team car. The car which was started at the beginning of the season by Mick Wiesover, the Austrian driver, but the Italian former single-seater star, started a career in Formula Renault, Formula 3, rose up to the ranks of GP3, raced in that international championship, the forerunner to the FIA Formula 3 championship a decade ago, the year that Valtteri Bottas won the championship, and then concentrated on a GT career in things like Blancpain, and most recently winning 2 back-to-back titles in the GT World Challenge America. So he makes his debut. He's going to be with us for Hockenheim as well. So back to 2 cars for Grasser Racing Team. He's in the top 10. He's still building up speed. He's in the top 10, Brian, because most of them haven't really put a flying lap in yet.
No, but Ricardo Feller and Thierry Vermeulen are turning the wick up a little. It is Ricardo Feller who's quickest of anybody in Sector 2. René Rast's quickest of anybody in Sector 1. But Thierry Vermeulen still at the top at the moment at 128.312. So clearly building the heat up and getting there. Ricardo Feller decides to bail on that. Back into the pit, so some fresh tyres going on. And this will be the big run for pole coming up soon.
There's obviously more to come from Ricardo because he aborted that lap, but he was on for a better lap than he'd had before with personal best in Sector 1.
Already lowered the
second
one, no worries.
That's a quick turnaround. Back out he goes. René Rast is on a lap at the moment, 23.1 through the first sector. It's not a personal best, but he's not far away. The first sector only takes in turns 1 and 2. The middle sector makes up about 39 seconds of the 1 minute 28. So that's the big sector you've got to get right, which takes in turns 3 all the way to turn 7. So let's have a look with shortly René Rast to come through the timing beam in the second sector. And if he's in the low 39s, he's going to be on course for a good lap.
Yeah. We're over halfway through this qualifying session. Still a number of drivers who have not put in a fast lap yet. Sheldon van der Linde, Jack Aitken amongst them, also Lucas Auer. Always a bit risky, particularly around here, because if you wait until the last couple of minutes before you really go for it, then you could end up with a yellow flag or red flag. But the big one is the track limits, because if you exceed the track limits, you don't get a second roll of the dice.
Bortolotti hasn't been out yet either, so the championship leader not on track yet. René Rast isn't going for it on this lap. He backed off in the middle sector to the next one, which is about to start. And the one after that, these next 2 laps could be the ones for René Rast. Got a good chance of pole position here. His first since the Norris Ring mid-season, and that would be his second for BMW. At the moment, the best BMW. And we've only got Marco Wittmann that set a lap time. Sheldon van der Linde and Sandra Holtzen with the other 2 BMWs haven't been out on track. As Lucas Stoltz then, still in the championship fight. Another good result yesterday in 7th place from 14th on the grid. He qualified 9th yesterday, but had a 5-place grid penalty for picking up 3 reprimands. Ricardo Feller goes over the start-finish line, weaving around behind Luca. Engstler's out of there, yet to go for it. The next lap will be the one where they, I think, pull the trigger, and Clement Schmidt is out there as well. There is his teammate, Andrea Caldarelli, who's up to 5th place at the moment, but had a slow middle sector, so this is not going to be a fast lap.
So all cars are now out on track, bar 1. Thierry Vermeulen is still in the pits, but everybody else now out on the track, trying to find some space, don't want to trip up anybody. So getting that space and then getting out there and putting the lap in. Andrea Caldarelli using all of the exit of turn 10, then cutting right back in to avoid those bollards out onto the pit straight, the long pit straight. Then it's the steep climb up to turn 1.
Yeah, so he pulls the trigger and goes for it on this lap. Just looking at first sector times, lots of personal best, but no mega quick ones as yet. Kelvin van der Linde looking to put his first proper lap of the session in. Is coming out of turn 10 now, goes beyond the curbs, goes way out wide in the Audi. And he'll come across the line with a 128.7, third quickest for now. I think there's more to come. And there is the driver, second in the championship standings. Before we came on air, there were lots of shots of Thomas in the garage, looking focused, looking ready, getting his helmet on, putting his earpiece in. And it was interesting to see that his mechanic was in the car, sorting out a few things, got out of the car, but they never talked. He knew to give Thomas his own space as he focused for this qualifying session.
Yes, great to see that focus, and that is why he's at the top of the championship and challenging for the lead. Really, it's all about hooking it all together week in, week out. Really can't afford a DNF here. He needs to be scoring points in every race.
Clement Schmidt's gone second quickest with a 128.428. It's a pretty torrid weekend so far. But the local team Grasser Racing, let's see if they can get a good result here with one of their 2 drivers. Mirko Bortolotti has gone out now as well, so he's on track. So it's a busy track, 6 minutes to go. They're all out there, all 28 cars out on track. You're watching Marco Wittmann, who got 8th place in yesterday's race. I think he'll be hoping for and expecting more today. An opportunity for Marco to challenge for a podium today, I reckon. And he goes through half a second down at the moment in 8th place. And from Pereira has gone third quickest, 128.4. He struggled yesterday because he was one of the drivers that chose the slick tyre in a damp, drying track in qualifying, but it didn't dry out enough, and so he was towards the back of the grid yesterday. Didn't score points in the race either. So Bortolotti on a push lap now. Did a 22.6 through the first set, so that's about 4 tenths down, a 39.7 7 tenths down. This is not going to be the lap, it's going to be the next one that Bortolotti goes for it. So this won't be a flying lap, but Marco Wittmann's on a flyer. But Brian, he's done the absolute best first sector time so far.
Yes, proving once again the BMW is very quick. Also got one eye on Rene Rast, who's still pushing hard as well. But Marco Wittmann with a best of anybody, but now Rene Rast the best of anybody in sector 1.
And Thierry Vermeulen best of all. He's gone top of the times briefly, because Clement Schmidt now crosses the line and goes to the top with a 128.305. 7 thousandths quicker than Vermeulen. And then Arjun Maini had a good lap as well just before that with a 128.332. Luca Engstler 4th, Luca Stotz 5th. He was in the top 3. Dennis Olsen's just gone 6th. This is going to chop and change. And Rene Rast goes absolute best in the first sector, but the second sector is the key. So we'll wait for his time to update. Rene is 18th in the session at the moment. 39.0 is the best second sector time so far, and that's been set by Ricardo Feller. And Rene Rast goes through in that sector with a 39.279. He's about 2 tenths down as it stands, but Marco Wittmann in the other BMW's got top of the times briefly. Frank Pereira goes quicker by a fraction, 128.182. So Pereira, Wittmann, Schmidt the top 3 at the moment. Rene Rast is going to get up there. How high will it be? I don't think it's going to be the front row, but he's going to be up in the top 6, I think, with this lap. And he's got another chance to improve. No, he backed off, backed right off, look, through the last sector. And now he pulls the trigger and goes for it. Kelvin van der Linde is hot on his heels as well, as David Schumacher improves to 15th.
Fucking idiot, what is he doing, man?
There's Rene Rast complaining about somebody, and the only somebody that's around him, Brian, is Kelvin van der Linde, isn't it?
Yeah, there's certainly nobody in front of him at the moment. He's got an empty track, so clearly some issues there. But it hasn't stopped him. He aborted that lap, didn't he? But he's still pushing hard now.
Arjun Maini on pole. 2 seconds later, Luca Engstler goes on pole. Half of them have been on provisional pole at the moment. It's almost going to be the last driver through that does it, you feel. 3.5 minutes to go. Thomas Preining goes absolute best in the middle sector with a 38.9 and goes fastest of all with a 127.906. Brilliant lap from the Austrian. Can that be beat? Ayhan Guen's gone second quickest as well, just 68 thousandths of a second down. Luca Engstler on course for his best qualifying so far in DTM. He's 3rd, Arjun Maini 4th, Frank Pereira. He's 4th at the moment, but he's done personal bests here. This could get him up somewhere near the front row of the grid. The Frenchman crosses the line, 3rd quickest, only 54 thousandths of a second adrift. And Marco Wittmann, just in front of him, improved as well to go 2nd. So Preining, Wittmann, Pereira, the top 3. Guen in 4th, Caldarelli 5th, and Jack Aitken 6th. But Rene Rast, absolute best middle sector in the BMW.
Yes, Rene Rast, he's been quick all the way through that lap. Now, what's this going to be? It's going to be provisional pole position for Rene Rast. Kelvin van der Linde crosses the line behind him, but nowhere near the pace. But Rene Rast, he's been building it up. He's got the heat into the tyres, and he jumps to the top.
Absolutely, and 127.747. He does it by over a 10th and a half. 38.9 for Thomas Preining through the first sector is a personal best. That is only 4 thousandths of a second down on Rene Rast's first sector. Through the second sector, it does a 38.912. So he's up there. He's going to be pushing for pole position. He needs a really, really good final sector, though. Sheldon van der Linde is looking to push himself up the order at the moment. He's 26th as it stands. Rene Rast going for it on the next lap at the moment as well. Will the tyres hold up for one more lap? We shall have to wait and see, but he's done an absolute best first sector for now. Sheldon van der Linde about to cross the line. He's going to have time for 2 more if he wants. He's definitely going to get 1 more lap in. What about Thomas Preining? He did a 128.870, so he backed off in the end. So I think he's going to go for it one more time. Rene Rast, absolute best through the middle sector as well. So he's looking to beat his own time here, looking to cement pole position. Ricardo Feller has just improved up to 8th place. Lucas Auer to 10th. Sheldon van der Linde 13th. But he's on another lap here at the moment, and he needs more. He needs much more. He needs to close the gap today to stay in the championship fight. Rene Rast coming across the line then now with a 127.671. Fastest lap of the session, and he's on provisional pole position, hunting down that record 26th career pole position. Can anybody stop him in the last 1 minute of the session? What about Mirko Bortolotti? He needs a good lap here. He's 24th at the moment. He's going to get 1 more lap out of this as well. So through comes Bortolotti, 6th, not bad, and he's got 1 more chance, Brian.
Jack Aitken is in 11th place at the moment. He's just had a lap cancelled for exceeding track limits. So another one of the many that are losing the track limits battle. Marco Wittmann, a personal best in Sector 1. He's currently in 3rd place. Looking to see what he can do in Sector 2. The fastest in that sector was a 38 so far. 39 for Marco Wittmann, so not especially quick in Sector 2, but still pulling it all together. I don't think he's going to improve on P3 in this.
No, he's dropped half a second in that middle sector alone, hasn't he? So he needs a mighty final sector if he's going to improve upon 3rd place. So Bortolotti 6th, Dennis Olsen 7th, the 2 latest improvements. Bortolotti's first sector at 22.2.
Aitken up to 2nd. He's finally strung it together. So Jack Aitken at 127.873 up to P2.
As the flag comes out, it's the absolute best final sector. So he nailed it through the last 3 corners, did Jack Aitken. What about Thierry Vermeulen? Back in 12th place at the moment. He comes through, stays in 12th place. It's only 4/10 down. Now, Sheldon van der Linde, absolute best first sector. He's up to 10th, but this is his 3rd consecutive lap. Will the tyres hold up? Well, Rennie Rast proved that the BMW can look after the tyres for 3 consecutive quick laps. So this is a big, big lap here. A big 1 minute for Sheldon van der Linde. He needs to be near the front of the grid to stay in the championship fight, to get some good points in the race, to outscore Mirko Bortolotti and give himself a mathematical chance at Hockenheim. At the moment, he's back in 10th place. So the middle sector, he does a 39.009. It's good. It's less than 2/10 down at the moment, but that's probably only going to be good enough for a top 6. Maybe not going to be charging for the top 3, but that will be okay if he can do it. Certainly wants to be higher than 10th. Thomas Preining 3rd at the moment with a 127.882, just 9 thousandths of a second behind Jack Aitken. Here comes Sheldon van der Linde. The last big charge then, over the line, dips for the line. Where does he put it? Fantastic final sector, 127.782. Well done, Sheldon van der Linde. That was a gritty effort. And like Jack Aitken, he did it all in the final sector, because he was about 2.5 tenths down. And 2.5 tenths, 3 tenths down would have put him 6th or 7th, but he dug deep. He found something in that last sector. And Schubert Motorsport are celebrating a 1-2 for BMW in qualifying, and a record-breaking 26th career pole position for René Rast puts him ahead now of the legend that is Bernd Schneider. Sheldon van der Linde on a knife edge there, his qualifying session, but last driver through, does the business, gets 2nd on the grid, and Jack Aitken 3rd, with Thomas Preining 4th, critically, well ahead of Mirko Bortolotti, his championship rival, who will have to come from 9th on the grid in that session. Wow, well, the BMWs were expected to go well in the try, and they have 1st, 2nd and 5th with Marco Wittmann.
Yes, we all knew the Schubert Motorsport BMWs were going to be quick. We didn't expect them to lock out the front row, though. So 3 turbocharged cars at the front with Jack Aitken in 3rd. Really good job from Thomas Preining to get up into that 4th place, then Marco Wittmann. Clemens Schmid, a good qualifying from him as well into P6.
This was the reaction where they got pole position, got the 1-2 from Schubert Motorsport, Torsten Schubert's team. Absolutely fantastic effort from René Rast and Sheldon van der Linde. Marcel Schmidt, the team manager, celebrating in the garage as well. So a 1-2. And there he is, the man of the moment, René Rast. He hasn't won yet in 2023. And let's go down and get some reaction with Verena Ring.
And I've got a happy man here, René Rast, who managed to secure pole position. So there you go, well done. Good feeling, huh?
Yeah, mega feeling, especially after yesterday's disappointing race, where we could have probably had a better result. But yeah, obviously pole position, very good. Sheldon on P2, so yeah, very good day so far.
Excellent. Best of luck for the race later on. Thank you very much, René, and back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. Yeah, great to grab René Rast. I noticed as well Marco Wittmann's last lap cancelled because of track limits. The same for Jack Aitken, the same for Thierry Vermeulen. So they could have had a bit more out of that potentially. But there is the grid for the 14th round of the championship. René Rast will be on pole position. Sheldon van der Linde 2nd. Jack Aitken qualifies 3rd. He's due a good result after some high-speed performances of late, but things haven't fallen his way. Thomas Preining 4th. We'll be pretty satisfied with that. Marco Wittmann in 5th. Clemens Schmidt in 6th 6th place. Then from Pereira 7th, Ayenjan Nguyen in 8th, Mirko Bortolotti at 9th, and Dennis Olsen rounding out the top 10. Andrea Caldarelli impresses again in the Grasser Racing Team Lamborghini. 11th for him, 12th for Thierry Vermeulen, but only 13th for Ricardo Feller. But, you know, 13th is better than 26th, Ricardo. So let's see him up on the podium again potentially later on today. Luca Engstler 14th, Marvin Dietz 15th, then Miney. Kelvin van der Linde, yesterday's winner, back in 17th place. Lucas Stoltz, top 6 in the championship, back in 18th place there as well. Lauren Heinrich, who was on pole position yesterday, 20th on the grid today. Lucas Auer struggling big time here this weekend. The Austrian in 21st. He has fallen out of the championship fight now mathematically. Actually, René Rast stays in the championship fight with that pole position because he got 3 points. All you got to do now, René, is get a win, 2 more pole positions and another win, and hope Mirko Bortolotti doesn't score. Great pole position then, a record-breaking one for René Rast. We look forward to the race later as we go back down to the pits and Verena.
Wow, what an exciting qualifying. And now, of course, we're looking forward to an even more exciting race in just a bit. So hang on there and we'll see you later on for the race. Till then, bye-bye.